There are moments that slip into your life without warning. No dramatic music. No flashing signs. Just an ordinary second that quietly turns into something you carry forever. This story begins in one of those moments, on a cold, rain-soaked afternoon inside a crowded cafe where no one expected anything extraordinary to happen. The door swung open again and again as people rushed in, shaking water from umbrellas, ordering quickly, eyes glued to their phones. That's when she appeared. Just inside the doorway stood a girl, small and unsteady, gripping a pair of crutches like lifelines. One leg was prosthetic, the metal joint visible beneath her jeans. She hesitated, as if the room itself might reject her. She was about 12 years old, hair pulled into a messy ponytail, clothes worn thin in places that told stories no child should have to live. But what truly set her apart wasn't the crutches or the prosthetic, it was the look in her eyes. A quiet, practiced loneliness. The kind you don't learn overnight. Her name was Mara. She had already walked too far that day. From school. Through the rain. Through pain she didn't want to admit to herself. All she needed was a seat. Just a few minutes to rest. But as she slowly made her way between tables, heads turned, and then turned away. Cups were suddenly interesting. Phones became urgent. Tables that had empty chairs now felt full. No one said no. They didn't have to. Mara felt it anyway. Then she stopped beside a table where a man sat with two children. A boy and a girl, both quiet, both watching her, not with discomfort, but curiosity. The man looked tired in the way adults do when life has taken more than it's given back. Mara swallowed, steadying her voice. "Can I sit here?" That simple question would change everything. Before we go on, if you believe in kindness, second chances, and the power of small moments to change lives, please like, comment, share, and subscribe. And tell us in the comments, where are you watching from today? The man's name was Rowan. He was a single father, raising his children, Isla and Grady, on his own since losing his wife 3 years earlier to a sudden illness. He worked long hours as a mechanic, came home exhausted, and did his best to be strong even when the weight of everything felt unbearable. The moment he looked at Mara, something inside him shifted. He recognized that look. He'd seen it in the mirror more times than he could count. Without hesitation, Rowan pulled his chair back and smiled. "Of course," he said, making space. Mara hesitated, cheeks burning, unsure if she'd misheard. But the warmth in his eyes didn't fade. Slowly, carefully, she lowered herself into the seat, setting her crutches against the table. The moment she sat down, she let out a breath she'd been holding for far too long. Rowan noticed the frayed shoelaces, her red, stiff fingers, the way rain clung to her jacket. This wasn't a child who wanted attention. This was a child who had learned to survive quietly. Isla offered a shy smile. Mara returned it, tentative, like someone unused to being welcomed. As minutes passed, silence turned into soft conversation. Rowan gently asked if she was okay. Mara shrugged at first, then explained in careful words that she'd been walking home from school when her prosthetic started hurting badly. Her mother worked double shifts and couldn't pick her up. The bus cost money they didn't have. She'd been born with a condition that led to the amputation of her left leg when she was very young. She spoke of it plainly, but there was an ache beneath her words. The kind that comes from growing up too fast. From being strong because you have no other choice. "I'm used to it," she said quickly. "I don't need help." But today, something had cracked. She didn't need fixing. She just needed a place to breathe. Rowan felt his chest tighten. He remembered all the times he'd told himself he was fine for the sake of his kids. All the days he smiled while falling apart. Mara was doing the same thing, smiling to survive. And suddenly, Rowan knew he couldn't let this moment pass. He stood, ordered a warm sandwich and a hot chocolate, and placed them in front of her. Mara froze, eyes wide, unsure if she was allowed to accept kindness without earning it. Rowan gave a small nod. That was all it took. Her shoulders relaxed. She ate slowly, like the food mattered less than what it represented. Care. Safety. Being seen. The children joined in, asking about her school, her favorite subjects, the stickers on her crutches. Mara answered with shy pride. Each question peeled away another layer of isolation. Rowan watched and felt something heal inside him too. Kindness has a way of doing that. When she finished eating, Mara's voice dropped to a whisper. She admitted she was afraid to go home, not because she'd be in trouble, but because her mother would blame herself. Her mom, Leona, worked non-stop ever since Mara's father left. Bills piled up. Medical expenses never ended. Mara hid her pain so her mother wouldn't feel guilty. Rowan's heart ached. This wasn't a child asking for pity. She was asking for understanding. "I can drive you home," Rowan said gently. Mara stared at him, disbelief flickering across her face. For a moment, it looked like she might cry. Not from sadness, but from the shock of being helped without conditions. Outside, the rain had slowed. Rowan held the door for her, and as they stepped into the cool air, Mara whispered something so small he almost missed it. "No one's ever done this for me. Except my mom." Rowan placed a reassuring hand on her shoulder. "You're not alone," he said. "Even when it feels like it." When they reached her apartment building, old, worn, but full of life, Leona burst through the door in panic. Her fear dissolved the moment she saw Mara safe. Tears streamed down her face as she thanked Rowan over and over. In that moment, it was clear how fiercely she loved her daughter, how hard she fought every day. Two single parents stood there, strangers connected by shared burdens and quiet strength. Mara turned to Rowan and finally let the tears fall. Tears of relief. Of release. She hugged him tightly and whispered that his simple yes, the invitation to sit, to rest, to be welcomed, meant more than he could ever know. Rowan hugged her back, promising her something he believed with his whole heart, that kindness still has a place in this world. If this story touched you, please like, comment, share, and subscribe. Your support helps us share more stories like this. And before you go, tell us, what moment in this story moved you the most? Because sometimes, the smallest yes doesn't just change a day. Sometimes, it changes a life.